Britain's Defence Secretary has said that a minerals deal between the US and Ukraine would be a good thing if it helps shape long-term peace. Ukraine says it's reached an agreement that will give the United States access to its natural mineral resources. Well, details still remain unclear about exactly what each side will get, but officials in Kyiv say that they see it as a good outcome. Well, President Trump described the deal as very big and said that President Zelensky wanted to sign it alongside him when he visits Washington on Friday. Well, Joe Inwood begins our coverage.
Could Ukraine's vast, untapped mineral deposits be the key to its continued fight? President Zelensky has suggested so in the past. In February, he showed these previously secret maps to reporters, detailing what lay beneath the ground. Graphite and lithium are essential for making batteries, while titanium and zirconium are used in everything from planes to power stations. These minerals, along with other rare earths, can be found in vast quantities under Ukraine, although much of it under Russian occupation. And now it seems some sort of deal has been done for access to these minerals. It's not known exactly what the terms are, but it's said that US demands for $500 billion have been removed. Speaking in his nightly address, President Zelensky made no mention of any deal, but it was confirmed to the BBC by Ukrainian officials and hinted at by the White House.
I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly it's okay with me if he'd like to, and he would like to sign it together with me, and I understand that's a big deal, very big deal.
By explicitly linking US support to mineral rights, President Trump has upended years of foreign policy precedent and made it clear that American support for Ukraine is not about the shared values of the fight, but about the value to be found in their land. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
Well, let's cross over live to Kyiv to speak to my colleague, our Ukraine correspondent, James Waterhouse. And James, arguably the details of what is in this deal are scarce, but what can you tell us?
Well, there are a lot of reports swirling around as to what this deal entails. I think, first off, there is a real hope here that this could be the start of more cooperation between Ukraine and the US. And I think if it is signed on Friday, then it just might allow Ukraine to exist with Russia continuing to occupy its territory. The reports suggest that we're talking about a pot of cash that will have contributions from Ukraine's natural mineral profits. So the money will go into this huge pot that both America and Ukraine own, and it'll be invested to help Ukraine's economy and infrastructure recover in the long term. So that, on the surface, appears to be what we are talking about. But what it does not have, according to these reports, are security guarantees for Ukraine. So President Zelensky has long called for military presence, continued supplies of ammunition and weaponry to help it survive and help it in the event of Russia re-invading down the line after a ceasefire is signed. But I think there is a real hope that because Donald Trump is part of this agreement, it will give him a stake, a financial stake in Ukraine that might make him want to intervene, step in, if this war was to reignite.
And James, expectations are that this deal will be signed on Friday by Zelensky in Washington alongside Donald Trump.
It is, and there's been a pretty hostile backdrop. Need we remind ourselves that over the last 2 weeks, Donald Trump has called President Zelensky a dictator who's doing a lousy job. The insults have become almost personal. He called him a moderately successful comedian, referencing his previous career. And crucially for Ukraine, he's used a very warm tone of language with Russia, acknowledging how it, in his words, holds the cards in any kind of peace negotiation. Nevertheless, President Zelensky is going to go to Washington, it looks like, and he's going to stand and speak with Donald Trump, pose for photographs before signing this agreement. He's not been shy here about the state of their relationship, where this deal initially was, he said, would have equated to selling the state. But this is part of a broader peace effort. This is part of America trying to commercially invest in Ukraine. The moral argument is behind us as to why it is supporting Ukraine. And it's also about how that equates, how that mixes in with where Russia is on this, and how both sides, Ukraine and Russia, could eventually agree to some kind of lasting ceasefire. But the feeling here is that it is all about what is going to be in the detail of this agreement. I think there's been a bit of political rallying behind President Zelensky after the criticisms he has faced. But there is it's really tainted the kind of yearnings for peace people have as they look westward for that support.
Indeed. James, as always, really good to get your analysis. James Waterhouse, our Ukraine correspondent, joining us live from Kyiv.